I really like the idea of having the opportunity to reflect and learn from mistakes. That's something that I model in my classrooms. I really like the concept of playing the long game. When you play the long game, you can make a mistake and it's not that big of a deal. Um, Oftentimes, a student, when they do poorly on an assessment, will try and turn it in upside down or stick it to the bottom of the pile. Or when you give it back, they don't want to go over their mistakes and learn from them. Um, Learning from mistakes is one of the things I model. I take every single assessment that I give my students, and I put my version up, and I allow students to try and find the mistakes that I make, and I grade it just like I grade theirs. And when I give it back, I say things like, "This question number 2, I got it wrong. I made a silly mistake. I'm not going to do that again." Or I'll say, "I need help with number 2. Can somebody please help me figure out? I didn't understand something about the question." I think that modeling the concept of learning from mistakes is really important, and in that sort of in that with that in mind, when I look back at the video that I first made and put on this website, it's riddled with mistakes. And instead of going back and scripting it and redoing it, I wanted to reflect on some of those mistakes that I wish I hadn't made. And so one of the first things I say is that it is my 6th year in Islamabad. It's not. It's my 7th. Somewhere in there, I talk about subsidiary classes that I teach below IB Physics. Those classes aren't below at all. Subsidiary is in a scope and sequence perspective, but my IB classes are not more important than my physical sciences or my environmental sciences. I say my own children are aging out as one of the reasons that we need to move, and that's awkwardly phrased. My boy is in 9th grade, and for him to have a stable high school, we need to get him in the next one now, or else he'll graduate. And then my daughter's in line in 9th grade, and then she'll graduate. And Islamabad's been epic, but it's not 15 years epic. There's another comment that I make somewhere in there about figuring out what I have left to give teaching that implies I've given it so much, and that's probably not the appropriate way to word that. In this concept of reflection, one of the things that I learned during COVID, I really think that teachers and schools and myself and the whole profession really got exposed during COVID. I think that we weren't very good. And I sat there watching my colleagues that I respect, my good friends, teaching my own children, shaking my head thinking, this isn't a great lesson, and I don't really like the way the teacher's talking to my kid. We really got exposed, and in reflecting on that opportunity, if you will, what I found is it's similar to the answer, am I afraid that AI is going to take over my job? If we see our teaching based on our content knowledge and how smart we are and how much of that smartness or content knowledge we can give to our students, then we're doomed. AI will take over our jobs, and that's not what's important in the classroom environment. What I learned is that being human is what's important. The opportunity to lead, the opportunity to mentor, the opportunity to inspire, these things separate us from our content knowledge and what are so important. Like robots aren't going to be able to inspire children to do their best. They're not going to provide the personal pat on the back to say, this is great, you can keep doing better, don't stop now. I think that when I look at what really makes a good teacher, and where I aspire to be a good teacher is in my ability to communicate with my kids. And it really all comes down to personality, having the right personality to inspire, to coach, and to get the best out of both yourself while you're doing it and the students while they're engaged. The opportunity to reflect. Sometimes I make too many mistakes, so I'm reflecting too often. But I'm playing the long game.